Okay. Hello, guys. Thank you so much for everyone that's able to be here with us today. Thank you, Shumi, for being able to be here with me today for our webinar. My name is Larissa. I'm the International Student Ambassador for the OIE office. So I work with the international office um, to try to get more international students to come here to IU Indy. And I am an international student myself. I'm from Brazil. I'm a freshman. Next semester, I'm going to be a sophomore here at IU. And today we're here with also an international student. And Shumi, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but we're here to learn a little bit more about the experience of being in IUND and just her perspective and everything. So, Shumi, can you introduce yourself? Tell us where you're from, your major, and yeah.
Right. Hi, everyone. My name is Shumi. I'm a first year international student here at IU Indianapolis, and I'm a nursing major. I'm from Zimbabwe, and yeah, I've come to IU Indy and I've started my college career, and so far I'm really enjoying it.
Okay. Shumi, I'm gonna ask you some questions, and people that are watching, please feel free to like ask questions to introduce yourselves and tell us what you're from in the chat. Shumi, what was your first impression when you arrived here, and what was like something that maybe surprised you about college in the U.S. or just IUMND specifically?
My first impression, I think, definitely was how just like nice and welcoming people were. Definitely when I arrived, I was like, there's a lot of a frenzy, the traveling, the moving, it's quite a lot. But everyone here was very welcoming. I got to meet Leslie and Erica and a lot of other stuff from the OIA, the international office. And yeah, so it was a very nice environment to come into. I think I was definitely surprised by like how many other international students there were, not just like in that first welcome week, but just as I go through my time here at IU Indianapolis, I've met so many people from other countries, some who've come in the same pathway that I have to start college, others who've been here for a bit longer, but I've just met people from so many countries and just it makes you feel less isolated when you meet other people from different countries as well.
Nice. You said you are a nursing major, but I do know that you weren't a nursing major when you first came here. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So I applied and was admitted, prospectively looking at neuroscience as my major. So for the first couple of weeks, I was a neuroscience major. And then, I was just looking a bit more into some of the majors offered here at IU Indianapolis and just kind of considering what do I want to do after my undergraduate? What career pathways do I have? So I was honestly not sure what I wanted to change my major to. So I went to meet with one of the advisors a couple times, and she kind of talked me through, well, if these are your career prospects, if this is what you want to do, and, as an international student, what considerations do I have to make? She walked me through the process, pros and cons list, the classics, and ultimately we decided on nursing. I think that's the one that kind of best fit what I want to do in the future. I'd also looked at exercise science for a while, but IU Indy has a really strong, like, science, like exercise science, nursing, healthcare related programs. So obviously I was spoiled for choice with what majors I could go into. But honestly, the process of changing my major was not as difficult and stressful as I thought it would be. And the advisors were really, really helpful and made it quite easy and helped me feel confident in the change that I was making.
Nice. You are a nursing major now, and nursing it's not an easy like major, and it's not an easy pathway for sure. What has been like the most interesting or challenging part of nursing so far?
Um, I think so. Here at IU Indy, you do your first year, which is your pre-nursing, where you do kind of your prerequisites, and then you begin the actual nursing program. Prospectively in your second year, that's kind of what most people do. But even during my pre-nursing year, which I am in right now, we've been connected to a lot of resources in the nursing school. So I got the chance to walk around and tour the nursing school and the medical school, and just to see like the actual places that you'll be working in. IU Indy is the campus is right next to the University Hospital, Riley Hospital, Eskenazi Hospital, the Simon Cancer Center. So you really are like right in the middle of like the medical center of Indianapolis. So having access to the University Hospital, being able to go in there and see, and just having that access to like the actual places that you'll be working, not only the places that you'll be doing your clinicals when you're now in nursing school, but also your prospective employers when you're done with your degree. So it's been so nice being able to see it all and be in the middle of it so early on.
Nice. And I know you guys get like challenging classes and like labs and all of that. How do you manage like your time with such a demanding major?
Oh, that's a difficult question because I don't think there's a perfect balance. I feel like most times something is always going to have to give a little bit. Um, but I do think that you have lots of time during the week to focus on your studies. So I've always decided that, like, during the week, I'm completely focused on my studies. I use as much time as I can going to the library, studying in the lounges, and then use the weekends to unwind. And I found that I think it kind of works for me, where I just completely dedicate myself to my studies during the week and know I can fully unwind, reset, relax during the weekends. But it is a lot. And maybe sometimes you'll find something has to be sacrificed a little bit. But ultimately, I think you can find some sort of a balance. You just have to know when to say no to things, when to, offload things from your plate because you can't do everything at the same time, and just know what you can and cannot do in the amount of time that you have.
And about like campus life, outside of class, what does a typical day looks like for you?
So yeah, so usually I'll have a lot of my classes or my labs or whatever I have going on in the mornings. I also do research, so sometimes during the week I'll have a research meeting around lunchtime with my research advisor. My afternoons are usually spent studying or one meeting or the next, something of that sort. In the evenings, I love my cycling class that I take every Wednesday. It's incredible. If you come here, you should definitely do cycling. That's another great way, doing cycling, doing Pilates, in the campus rec center. I like to meet up with my friends for meals, either lunch or dinner, whenever we're free. And I often have some sort of meeting again in the evening, usually for a club or association that I'm a part of. And I'm definitely a night owl, so I love going to the gym late at night. We have a gym here in University Tower on the ninth floor. So usually 11 p.m. I'll head to the gym just to unwind after the day, and then I can shower and go to bed, often quite late, but yeah.
What about like what are your favorite things to do on campus in your free time or like on the weekends and things like that?
So if it's not studying, I love going to play volleyball. There's the volleyball courts that are just across the road from Tower. You can go and play volleyball. You can go on a walk if the weather is nice, or um, just walking around. I found one of my friends and I, we love to just walk around campus and just see what's there. So sometimes we'll go and explore the nursing school or the law library, or just see what fun buildings are there on campus. But if we don't want to stay necessarily on campus, literally just like a 15-minute walk away is the canal, and it's very beautiful. There's lots of people running, going on walks, walking their pets. There's a place to get gelato there, and it's just very beautiful. You can go there, you can go on a run, you can go to White River State Park and just sit in the park and read, or I don't know, just go out there just to look at the views. It's very, very beautiful, and it's like basically on campus.
You talked a lot about like your meetings and how busy you are, or about like research. what are some clubs or organizations that you are involved in?
So, during my first year, I've done, other than doing research, because I've done a couple of research projects, I've also been a part of the Residence Hall Association, which is basically like the hall council. So each residence hall here on campus has a hall council. The hall council is responsible for hosting events for students that live on campus. So events for people to unwind, to engage, to connect with each other. And we also do something called Advocacy Day, where we get to know the residents' concerns, what we would like to see changed or improved about the buildings that we're living in. And then we advocate for that change so that future residents have, a good place to live and that we continue to improve these buildings for our residents. Other than that, there's also the Student Nursing Association, which is also open to pre-nursing students. They host events related to nursing and healthcare. And while those are my main two, I also just love going to different club meetings, call out meetings. Recently, I went to Braza, which is the Brazilian Students Association here on campus. And there's lots of clubs that are hosting events all the time. And you can just go to these and just get to know different clubs and have some free food, make some friends, make some connections. Yeah.
Nice. You're talking about that's perfect because you're talking about like connections and everything. How did you find your community here in IU Indy? Like, what advice would you give to someone who's struggling to make friends or just got here? What would you tell them?
So I would say my closest friends were the people that I met on my very, very first day here, on the first day of International Student Orientation. So the first girls that I met, Larissa, Alvina, were at International Student Orientation. I think if you're an international student, I think getting to connect with other international students, either through orientation or through events or just through anything to do with the international office is probably just the best way because these people are so open and so understanding. They're in the same boat as you. So everyone's always so willing to make friends, to help each other out. If you're living on campus, that's another really, really great way to make friends. I love my roommates. They were random assigned roommates, but they're absolutely incredible. We get along. I love them. You can get to meet people on your floor, but also clubs. During my first couple of weeks at school, when I only knew like two or three people, I would just go to random club meetings. If you just go to a random club meeting where probably they have free food, you'll get to know people. That was a great way for me to make friends and also maybe to find some sort of clubs that you would like to join. Another one of my favorite ways to make friends was to go and play volleyball at the Croft. So at the beginning of the fall semester, the weather will be incredible. Everyone's still excited on the high from the summer. So lots of people every single day until like 10 p.m. will be playing volleyball out on the courts. So if you just go there, ask to join them to play, trust me, you'll make lots of friends. Everyone's very friendly here.
I agree. um, I even okay. What's one campus resource that you use all the time, or like one that you feel like more students should take advantage of that it's not talked about enough?
Other than the campus rec, like the gym and like other campus rec facilities, I think the advising on campus has been so helpful. So, number one for me, obviously, with changing my major, I had to go and meet with advisors a couple of times, but you also meet with them to schedule your classes or to figure out what you need to take. And I think the advisors, honestly, if you have any uncertainty about your major, your classes, your pathway, graduate school, there are so many different like advisors and advising offices on campus. There's also the preps office, which is great for science students if you're trying to find internships, jobs, graduate school applications, help with resume, CV. They're so, so helpful. And also for me, kind of planning out my future, trying to figure out if I want to go to some sort of graduate school, medical school, physical therapy, occupational therapy, they're so helpful. And they kind of help you see those things you wouldn't think you'd need. So like, what classes do I need to take? Is there anything specific that these medical schools are looking for that I may overlook? And then, come senior year and you're like, oh my goodness, I completely forgot to look into this. And now I'm not prepared for my application. Just going and doing a 15-minute meeting with them is so, so helpful because they've been through this. They've done this so many times with other students. So they know those things that you wouldn't realize or those things that you wouldn't think you need. So definitely, definitely taking advantage of the advisors on campus.
Another thing that I know about you is that you have an on-campus job. Can you tell us a little bit of how the process of applying for is, and how like has your experience been like with working on campus?
Okay, so I'm a tutor. I'm a math tutor for finite math here on campus. It's a class that I took last semester and I really enjoyed it. And my teacher is actually the one who suggested, if you want to continue doing it, you can tutor the students at the MAC, the Math Assistance Center. So you can apply for lots of on-campus jobs through Handshake, but I did actually just go down to the MAC and I just kind of inquired what would I need to do if I wanted to become a tutor. They were very helpful. They gave me the application forms, and then they brought me in for an interview. And after kind of your initial interviewing process and you go through all that and they give you the position, then they'll walk you through the kind of official documentation you need to do in order to work as an international student on campus. So uh, my manager, she's extremely helpful. She walked me through everything. She told me exactly what I need to do. She tells me you'll be getting this email, make sure you fill out this, make sure you do that. So they kind of walk you through it. You can also go to OIA if you have any questions and make sure that you have all the authorizations you need and that your job fits within the, kind of the regulations you have to work on campus as an international student. So they helped me, worked me through that. And yeah, as long as you just pay attention to detail, it's honestly a pretty straightforward process. And then I was able to start working. And I really do enjoy my job. My manager is very understanding. She understands that you're a student. So obviously, you already have a lot to do if you want to add a job onto all of that. But hours are flexible for, I think, almost every on-campus job. You work as much as can fit into your schedule. You won't be asked to work more than you have the time to do, and you can fit that into your schedule. And so far, I'm really, really enjoying my job, and yeah, it's been a great experience for me.
And next semester, you're also gonna be an RA. What are you most excited about that? Can you share a little bit about how was the process? How's the process on applying to that job too? If you guys don't know, RA is resident assistant. So if you live on campus, Ball, North, and Tower, you have two RAs per floor, and Riverwalk, you have one RA per building. So Shumi's gonna be an RA next semester, and if you want to share a little bit about that too, because that's really cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to be an RA, a resident assistant for International House in Riverwalk. Riverwalk are the on-campus apartments, so you get apartment style living for upperclassmen. And International House is where a lot of international students, or just students from different countries, live together. It's like iHouse and iHouse RAs work very closely with the OIA. So if you're an incoming international student, you could get placed in iHouse. So hopefully I'll be seeing you next semester. But the process of applying for it, I mean, being an RA is it's a pretty popular job. There's really great benefits. So there were a lot of people who were looking to get that RA position. So we had to go through kind of a group interview where they just kind of get to know the candidates and want to see how you all work together. And then after the group interview, some of us will be invited back for like a one-on-one kind of interview, just kind of the more formal, regular format of an interview. I was interviewed by two current RAs who kind of just asked me a couple of questions, wanted to get to know me, wanted to get to know, what I want to get out of this position, what I want to give to my residents, and just to evaluate if I would be a fit for this position. You do give your preferences as to which buildings, halls, or even LLCs you'd like to be an RA for. An LLC being just like a living learning community. So, like the international houses in LLC, there's the honors floors, the nursing floors, things like that. So, iHouse was my top preference. I really, really wanted to be in that environment with other international students, especially ones who are here for the first time, who may not have family here in the US. We're just kind of trying to figure out things for themselves, experiencing homesickness, struggling with being in a new country and adjusting to life here. So that was really my hope that I could live somewhere like that and help those residents because I do have some of those experiences myself. Um, but ultimately, I think I was a good fit for the position. So I'm very, very excited to start that in the fall.
Nice. So we're almost done with spring. So your freshman year is almost over. What's your favorite or most memorable moment so far in your freshman year?
Wow. Um, there's been a few on campus and off campus. I think definitely I love going to the Indiana State Fair. So during that kind of first week of international student orientation before other students arrive, we got to go to the Indiana State Fair, which is very fun. It was a little bit overwhelming, you just arrived here and it's like it's everything all at once, but it was a lot of fun. But other than that, I also got to go skiing for my birthday with Larissa and another one of our friends. So Perfect North is very close. Okay, it's like less than 2 hours, Perfect North Slopes, less than 2 hours away from campus. I grew up in Zimbabwe. We do not have snow. We barely have winter. So getting to ski was definitely a lot of fun. We did lose each other on the slopes for a little while, but it's okay. We found each other. We're fine. So that was a lot of fun. And yeah, I think I'll definitely be going back next year again. Hopefully, I won't lose my friends this time.
Hopefully, yeah, we're definitely making that our winter trip. Um, if you could give your first year self an advice, what would it be?
Um, I think just coming into this first year and trying to figure out what I want to get out of college, I definitely put a lot of pressure on myself to do everything. If I tell myself I want to go to medical school, then I tell myself, okay, I have to do volunteer hours, research, clubs, leadership, involvement, everything all at once. But you have 4 years to get through all of this, and not just those 4 years, but also your summers. And you don't need to feel the pressure to do everything all at once, and you have time and you have people who are willing to help you and willing to help you plan it out. So come here also knowing that college isn't just a time to build your resume and get ready for a career. It's also just a time to have fun and make friends. You're in a new country, there's lots of things to explore. Indianapolis, America, Indiana, it's an incredible place to be. There are so many different things to do, so many people to meet. So you don't have to feel that pressure that all you are here for is just to prepare yourself for a career or just to get a degree, because there's a lot of other growing you can do through having fun and meeting people and making friends.
We have some questions in the comments for you.
Mhm.
What has been the most surprising thing about yourself since moving abroad?
Okay, that's an easy question. I have been so extroverted since coming to America, which is so surprising for me. I'm extremely shy and very reserved, which Larissa will disagree with because she has not seen that side of me. But I was so scared that I was going to come here and not make any friends, not be able to talk to anyone because I tend to be very reserved. But it's like it's a new beginning. You can start afresh and just be open, talk to people, you'll find your people. And honestly, it's been very freeing to just go out there and put myself out there and just open up a bit. So I was a bit surprised by it, but I'm not mad about it.
Haven't been able to find, so these two questions are kind of together. Have you been able to find internships or career opportunities as an international student? And how early should someone start prepping for internships in the US?
So there's honestly a lot of career and internship opportunities. So starting off with your on-campus employment, I think is always a good place to start, just to get used to working in the US and just to kind of get familiar with what regulations you have as an international student. And then the best time for internships is during your summers. So again, through Handshake, you can apply for internships. There's always different ones being uploaded. There's paid, unpaid, temporary, like there's lots of opportunities for just kind of rule of thumb for most international students. If you're working on campus, you're probably going to be looking for something related to your major. Although that's not a hard and fast rule, you have to look into the specific regulations. But like for me in healthcare, there's opportunities like at Riley Hospital and at Eskenazi Hospital. Um, and there are lots of them. I think it's just knowing what works with your regulations as an international student. I personally am looking at a couple of opportunities for this summer. I'm still trying to decide what would work best. Um, I also have the opportunity to keep my current on campus employment over the summer. So there's always going to be something for you to do to explore, whether it's on campus in the city or even if you want to go to another state for the summer. There's lots of them. Just always run them by OIA and say, this is what I found, this is what I'm thinking of applying to, or this is the job or internship I've been offered, and they'll look over it with you just so that you know exactly what you need and exactly what you need to do in order to do that employment or internship. And how early? Um, if you're looking at an internship during the spring semester, honestly, you'll start to receive emails where they're just kind of giving you a heads up that, oh, there's these internships open that you can apply for. Don't forget to do this if you want to do an internship over the summer. So you'll be receiving those emails. I think in the second half of spring semester is when a lot of people start to kind of finalize their plans for the summer and for their internships. So I think the spring is a good time just looking through possible opportunities throughout your spring semester. And then in the second half, that's when you can meet with an advisor. They can also help you as an international student to know what else do you need to do in order to complete an internship over the summer, to meet with your advisors, to meet with OIA, and then to just kind of solidify your plan for a summer internship.
Yeah, I agree. I think how early, like depends what area too. Like there's gonna be like different different fields that require you to start looking at summer internships fall semester, but like especially if you're a freshman, that's too early. Like it's okay. You can get an internship if you start looking at spring and college. Like IU gives you so many opportunities. Like we have internship and job fairs all the time, like all the time. Campus center. At least now I'm talking more of a business point of view and less of a health and STEM point of view. Like we have our fairs. We have at least two fairs per semester. That's just like over 20, 30 companies here, and they're looking for students to work with them. So don't worry so much about it because we have so much resources. And like Shumi said, like we have so many advisors. We have advisors for major, we have advisors for honors, you have advisors for as an international student through OIA. So if you talk with all of them, like you're gonna be fine. And if anyone has any more questions, I'll continue with the questions I have here. And we're almost like I'm almost over. I'm almost done with my questions. But Shumi, what would you say to someone thinking about choosing IU Indy?
I would say honestly do it. One of my favorite things about IU Indy is just the campus being right in the middle of the city has honestly been one of the best things. If you're someone like me, I was coming from a very small town, so I've never like lived in the city. But at the same time, even though I'm living in the middle of the city, Indianapolis is it's not overwhelming. You know, it's not overly busy. It's not huge. I think it's a good introduction to living in the US. Being in the city, I think it's just a great place. And then IU Indy itself has so many great opportunities. Obviously, for me, I'm a bit biased. I think IU Indy's health programs are just absolutely incredible. and you just have so many resources. It's really incredible. And then obviously the Kelly School of Business. I mean, you can't compete with Kelly. So there's just, you have so many incredible programs, but also just being on a campus that really gives you the college experience while also being in the middle of a city and getting all of the advantages of being there and getting to explore and getting to meet people and do all these fun things while living in Indianapolis.
Yes, I agree. um, those were my questions that I prepared. If anyone else has any more questions, but if not, thank you so much, Shumi, for everything. Just quick reminder, you guys can always email the OIA, and we can always talk not just with our advisors and, like Shumi said, like Leslie and Erica, which are my bosses and are the ones that help us out in OIA. But you guys can also contact us students. I'm there, and we have a whole team of students that are ready to talk with you guys. If you have more questions too, just email the I apply IU Indy, and you can be redirected, and we can talk. You guys can talk both with the OIA staff, but also with students, and get a little bit more of this student perspective that it's so important. And yeah, thank you so much, Shimi, for everything.
Of course. Thank you for having me.